Hello and welcome to season 7, lucky number 7 of the SSF Wormcast. I am, as always, the I was going to say the co-host with the most hosts, but that makes no sense. I am, as always, Jessica Haynes, and joined by my lovely co-stess with the most death.
Emma Jackson. That was awesome. I like
Yeah,
that.
I have no idea
We
where
can
that came
take
from
that.
today.
Yeah. Number 7.
I know.
Wow.
It is
Yeah.
7. I did get that bit right, didn't I?
Yes, you did. You did. I
It's
wondered
written on
that.
my
I was like,
hand.
what? Yes. And 7 is a trope season.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going for another bunch of tropes. We're going to run out of tropes eventually,
We
I
will.
guess, unless
Hmm.
people invent some more.
We
Maybe.
can invent some more.
Why not? We can
Hmm.
go to micro tropes,
Ooh.
like tiny ones. I mean, that's going to be quite hard to find in terms of books and stuff. Like we'd have to read a lot of books to find the micro tropes, I
Well,
guess.
saying that, there's one of the tropes that we have, and I'm not going to say now, but
Okay.
I struggled a bit. I mean, is this
Mm.
this? Because it's not a thing so much anymore. So,
I think that's what's quite interesting with some of the ones we've picked from this season is
mm,
that it's difficult. Yeah, it's like what are the parameters? What do we count as this and what do we not count as it? I've had a couple of those as well. It'll be interesting to see if it's the same ones
yeah,
that
it
we've
will be.
struggled
We
with.
know which one it is.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, could be. Um, yeah, so we're here and we have a trope to talk to you about with a bunch of books.
We
I
do, we
guess.
do.
Yeah.
So we are going for. Are we going to say now?
Yeah, why not? I
Okay.
guess.
We are. Well, I was going to say I got Stitch out. His Halloween Stitch because he's mine. I got Stitch out
Yay.
because we are talking of found family.
Yes, found family. We're going for recommendations of books that have found family in, whether they are sci-fi, fantasy, or paranormal, romance, monster romance, whatever. We cover it all. We'll see what we've got.
Indeed, we shall.
Yeah,
All right.
let's get started.
All right, so we're going to get into this. I feel like I should go first, but I probably shouldn't go
No,
first.
you should or you shouldn't. You don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Are you going to stop me if I go too far?
No, because I'm far
No.
too polite for that. I'll just let you go. And I
Excuse me.
like listening
Excuse
to you
me.
talk.
Okay,
Excuse me.
I will try and rein in. I will try and get the yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I will go first then.
All right.
So my first book is Bound to the Pack by LV Lane.
Hmm.
And as I mentioned to you earlier, this is book 10 of a 23 book series at present. There
Wow.
may be more coming, and if they are, I will soak them up like SpongeBob. Um,
Wow. Okay.
so,
Nice.
and there's quite a few within it that have this kind of fan family vibe to it because of what is going on within the
Mm.
worlds. But this one I picked just for number of partners. It's me. It is a I choose. And yeah, some of the differences of them and how they came to be where they are, and that pretty much a lot of them have something that needed them to have this family unit come together.
Okay. Like stuff in
So
their past where they've been
yes,
estranged and or,
yes. So
orphaned or whatever.
yeah, yeah, basically. So we'll start with that. We will start with our orphan because that's where we're
Okay.
going. So we have Fern. She's a human orphan who lives in this little village, lost her parents when she was quite young, and is taken on as charity by the lord of the town and lives there. And she's a lovely girl. She's a healer. We find out as she gets a bit older, and she kind of does for them. She cooks and cleans with the other staff, and she's quite content and happy, quite just a nice girl. Unfortunately, the Lord has several children, two boys and a girl, and he lost his wife. So the daughter has been quite pandered to. Her name is Petra. And we start the book with Petra just kind of giving it to Fern. And she takes her
Hmm.
into a room and just hacks all of her hair off because a hunter from the village comes in to help Fern move some logs into the house. So yeah, it's from being an orphan and trying to be saved. Her story is not great, even when she
Mm.
gets to a place where she needs to be. So even in this little found family unit, she starts to get with the staff. It sort of goes downhill. But yeah, so we move on a little bit. That's just kind of the prequeliness. but yes, so we come into it, and what is going on? There's loads of wars everywhere. There's orcs, there's shifters, there's the humans out there, and there's loads of fighting. There's Fae all over the place. But what is happening within this little village is there's a bunch of bear shifters that have been coming around and about, and they've been causing chaos. They've been trying to find lands and people and stuff. So the town has a link with a wolf shifter pack. So the wolf shifters are coming in to speak to the Lord. The Lord's second son, Adam, is coming back from fighting with the king to come and sort of sit in and see what's
Mm-hmm.
going on. So everybody is converging on this manor with Emric, the hunter, who was mentioned in the first bit. And so they're all chatting, and Fern comes in to kind of see everybody in, take cloaks and stuff. And Petra is there again. She doesn't like the fact that all of these men are coming in and chatting with Fern. So she gets her to scraping and cleaning the floor on her hands and knees with this
Oy,
dirty
oy,
scrubbing
oy.
brush.
Mm-hmm.
But because she is a healer, the bears attack when the shifters have come in. So everybody goes out. Emric the hunter gets attacked. And Fern, being a healer, her healer is physical touch. But
Okay.
because Emric is on the verge of death, the only physical touch that really does it for him is going all in.
Okay.
So, so they are there.
Not heard of that method before.
No, no, but it does the job for him. So they are
Actually, I
there.
tell a lie. I have read something similar
Yeah.
once.
So Emric and Fern are on the floor getting down to it. And obviously everybody who's come out. So Adam is the
Sorry,
second son.
I'm wondering how he managed, but then some men could no matter what. That's the way they want to
Well,
go, isn't
this is
it?
it. So the healing touch is there. So she touches him and she gives him a kiss on the head to kind of channel the energies. And he's just like, he starts to heal up and he's there and gone, bless him,
Yeah.
literally. So all of the men who've come out, Adam is the second son. He's a human, but he's alpha, so he's big, he's strong. So he's there. The two shifters, who are Casper and Tavian, are there, and they're all kind of putting a shield around to kind of make sure
Hmm.
nobody notices. But Petra is
Okay.
in the background, understanding what's going on, and all of these men she wants to get nearer to. She's been promised to the son of a family at some point. She
Oh,
doesn't want that. So
yeah.
she's being physically dragged away. But all of these men are kind of noticing something. She's very small. This is a healer. This is a moment. And she's an omega. This is a thing. So the walls are
Okay.
kicking in. Emric's
Hmm.
obviously well in already. Adam is there, and they're all kind of realizing what is
Don't
going
drink
on.
the tea.
No, don't think that. I
That
knew
was
in
like
my
one of those
head.
slow resonating
Oh,
ones.
in
Don't
my head, I thought, are we going to have to cut this because you're just going to be
know.
cooking in so much?
I'm gonna try and be better behaved this season and not have a mental collapse.
Yeah, we try. We,
Hmm.
and you're still drinking. But yeah,
It was all right.
so
I'd moved past it. See,
fine.
more control.
Yeah. So it gets down to it that there are four men who are all vying for Fern's attention. Petra, obviously being not happy about this, gets her sights set on Fern. So when the bears have attacked, everybody's like, okay, Emric's okay. He needs to go and rest and heal. Adam has to go to the king, let him know what's going on. The wolves have to go back to Packlands and let them know what's going on. So Fern is left at home, and Petra just sets in, beats her
Mm.
very badly, cloth on her head, locks her in a shed overnight. The wolves come back to speak to people, find out, and take her back to the pack. They're having none of it.
Mm.
So she's in Packlands, and yeah, there was a few more wolves in that pack. So basically, it's a merging of all of these little entities. So everybody has their little thing. So Fern is an orphan. She's never had anything. She started to get this found family with the other staff at the house, but Petra kind of kept sticking a little oar in. She was kind of always feeling just not as
Yeah.
joined to anything. So she kind of has all of these men suddenly appear, and she's kind of a bit questioning of it. But she gets like 8 in the end, I think. So she finds her family. 8. So
Wow.
Adam
I
being
think
the
that is the most I've heard of.
oh, I think I found it was 9 in the Alice in Wonderland one that he
Oh,
did
that's
a
right. Yeah,
while
that was
ago.
a lot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. I don't
So
remember
yeah,
all
that
their
was
names.
oh God. Well, the characters were there, so the characters were quite useful because, yeah, even if they had names, it was just, well, you're obviously the Cheshire Cat.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
That's it. Tick box. But yeah, so Adam being the second son was never treated as the other kids were. So Petra's the daughter, the eldest son is going to be the Lord. So Adam was kind of shipped off. That was it. You're
Yeah.
there, you're going to fight. Off you
Hmm.
go. Emric, who is the hunter, was his best friend, had to leave him behind. So he's kind of, even though he is part of this royal family within this village, he's nothing. He was just the
Yeah.
afterthought,
Hmm.
the heir and the spare, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, when he sees this woman and he's got these alpha tendencies kicking in with this omega, he kind of jumps at the chance, really. He also wants to fight off the others who want it because
Right.
he looks strong, omega, alpha, yeah, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
And the wolf, so Tavian is the son of the alpha of the pack, but his parents are horrible. They're the vilest people. The
Hmm.
wolves have always had this link with the village, but they just severed it because the dad's like, yeah, they're not helping out anymore. We've
Oh,
made an
right.
alliance with these orcs who are just killing all the other people over there. And Tavian's like, okay, that can't happen. That's But yeah, so it just doesn't. So again, we have another son who is treated badly, who is kind of looking for something. And he found that in Casper, sort of a few years before. So Casper and Tavian come as a kind of already, they're not
Yeah.
mated pair, but they kind of are. The Omega kind of joins them as a pack. So Caspar wasn't able to shift. He was latent. He was a latent shifter when he was joined the pack. So he was abandoned as a teen, just
Right.
into the pack, and he
Hmm.
was just the punching bag for everybody else in the pack. So Tavian kind of took him under his wing as an alpha, and I think Casper's an alpha as well, but lower on the ranking. So those two merged, and then they found a few other beaters along the
Yeah.
way who are Judd and somebody else. I didn't write everybody's names down, but there were
I'm
four
not
others, I
surprised.
think. Yeah, there were
No,
four
I'm
others.
understanding why you have 4 pages now.
Oh, seriously. So yeah, basically, Fern goes to the pack and she's a bit upset that she's had to leave Emric and Adam behind because Adam's always been in her life within the Lord, and Emric was kind of, he offered to marry her after what happened with the healing, but he's always been around the village as well, and he's the golden retriever beater in the pack. He's the bottom of the pile, bless him. He's fine with it. Yeah, Emric is the only one that doesn't really have any issues. He's just there and he's happy to be there. He's happy to just stand in the
Yeah.
background with a drink and just
Yeah.
listen to the music. Bless him. So yeah, they go to Patlands and just basically everything kicks off. The wolves have started taking up with the orcs. They find this Omega in his son's cave, so she has to be taken off because Omegas are prized because they are
Oh,
obviously
yeah.
breedable, and that's it. The orcs want her to sort of start breeding more races of these things and beat the wars. So she gets kidnapped, and then everybody has to kind of jump into the band. You realize all of the lower people in the wolf pack have been treated horrendously by this alpha, but it's just kind of been hidden under the
Right.
murk of all this stuff with the bear shifters that was happening. So
Oh,
they start to
God.
filter away, and they then kind of give their power to this pack that's sort of joined when they all go off to try and find Fern. And yeah, this tiny little, each individual facet of loneliness starts to journey together, and then
Mm.
this other little bit of pack at the bottom kind of creates another little pack, and then they've got an alpha that's ready made to sit on the top of it, and it's just really lovely. I'm going to try and
Oh.
leave it there because otherwise I'll
Okay.
keep talking.
Yeah, I get it. So yeah, there's a lot. There's
So
masses
much
of
to,
world
yeah,
building going on there.
yeah,
It's
well, yeah, 10th in.
interesting that I haven't gone for any why chooses, which probably would have been easier in order to find the found family ones
Yes,
because like it's always intrinsic to a why choose, isn't it? Is they're putting together a group,
putting the band back together. Yeah,
yeah, that's it. It's, all these different characters coming from different backgrounds and finding each other and finding the place they belong, which is always really lovely in Why Chooses. I do enjoy that aspect.
yeah.
But when you're looking, what I found tricky, looking at found family as a trope in uh like romance, is that it's not very easy to know whether it's gonna be in there. It has to be like retrospective. You find it
Yeah,
when you
at
read
the
it. It's
end.
like
Yeah.
it's like it's like an incidental trope rather than a romance trope.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
it's
you
a
can't
very
just
big
be there.
fantasy and sci-fi trope.
Well,
It's
this was it.
yeah.
Out of all of the tropes we've used, this is the one I had no real struggle with. It's kind
Oh,
of they're just
okay.
all there laid out for you.
Yeah, yeah.
From my side of things, yeah. But yeah, it was the more epic that they were, I found it was yeah, the more found family was in there.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. You do. Like I see it in so many books, but it's like, oh, you don't know, you can't like pick it and be like, I found that it's like kind of in the blurbs. If you know that there's found for family from the blurbs, you can't be guaranteed that there's romance in that
Yes.
it in a way that is centralized. You know, there's probably going to be subplot romance, but you don't know. It's more about the band, the group of misfits that are coming together.
Yeah.
And then obviously when you're reading it and it's a romance, it's like they don't tend to mention all of the different characters coming together because they're focusing on the romance, unless it's what I choose, because
Yes.
that's the point. Nice group.
Mm.
Yeah. Mm. So that being said, my first one I have behind me.
I was gonna say
Cursed
I've
Under
seen it there this
London.
morning.
Yeah, I had to because I actually bought this one for myself and it's pink, which is why I am pink.
Oh, matchy matchy.
Yeah, because it's just so lovely.
I was gonna say it's a big pulsing heart in there,
Yeah.
isn't it?
So, Cursed Under London, which is Gabby Hutchinson Crouch. And you all know she's a writer for horrible histories.
Oh,
So,
William, bit short.
yeah, go with that. That thought that you've had about the humor for horrible histories, that is what is
Fantastic.
deep baked into this, and it's so funny. Um, it's an alternative historical London, which is at least Elizabethan time. So it's based mostly around kind of the stomping ground where I grew up in South London and
Nice.
like so Deptford and New Cross and that kind of area because that was the hub of London before it all burnt down, wasn't it, basically? And they rebuilt it. That was like the main centralized bit. And then when they had to rebuild after the Great Fire of London. So it's like at that period. But what's happened is there's been obviously there are like paranormal creatures, and there's been a war at some point. I'm a bit woolly on these kind of bits, but and it's way past that, and there's been a treaty, and basically all the paranormal creatures, their dominion is under London. So think of the underground system, but it's not underground tubes, it's underground tunnels and massive caverns and
Oh,
like
nice.
streets and things like this, which is for the paranormal creatures to live. And they do cross over. Normal London is just called Upper London, and that's where humans live. But you get like crossover. They have to have particular rules that they follow. There is the Red Queen who is in charge of all of like the under London paranormal stuff, and obviously it's Queen Elizabeth in Upper London. But so that's basically the setup. I mean, to the point where like if you want, you can request to be turned into a vampire or a zombie.
Oh,
Like people do it
huh.
by choice. It's like it's a lifestyle choice if they want to become one, and then they have to live underground. And like in
Okay.
terms of they can't eat anyone in Upper London unless they're already dead or have given their permission because they're dying kind
Oh,
of
okay.
thing. So like there's it's a reason. But if people from Upper London go into Under London, then you're on your own kind of thing. That's their grounds, and it's kind of like how we should see it when you go into the sea. If a great white shark lives in the sea,
Yeah, if you're mm.
you're in their territory,
Yeah,
Don't
I
be
heard somebody
surprised if you
yeah.
get bitten.
I heard somebody say that about Jaws. It's like it's not really a horror film. You kind of came into his yeah.
It's
It's
just a
his
lot of
ballpark.
people. Well, it's a bunch of lemmings keep going,
Yeah.
keep walking themselves off a cliff.
Oh no. Yeah.
There's a massive shark. He wants to eat people. Why
Yeah.
you got to kill the shark? Just stop
Yeah.
going in the. I
Just
mean,
get
they do
away.
live
Stop
a
it.
long time, to be fair.
Do they?
Well, sharks do, yeah.
Mm. I've
They
never
can
met
live
one.
hundreds of years.
I'm beach me. I'm like Ken. I do
Yeah,
beach.
beach to beach.
Mm.
Yeah, that is the best way. Um, right. So character-wise, actually, the story, that's like just the setup.
Yeah.
Um, but it gives you a flavor of the tone we're going for here.
Yeah. That's
Um, it opens with Fang, who is not a vampire. It's he comes from he's traveled. So the main characters are like immigrants basically to London, which is, another feel for how London is, where it's a place that's populated by many people from many
Yeah.
different places. Um so he's traveled there, but he's he's dying. He's been beaten up in an alley
Oh.
because he was um trying to protect a cat. He's sweet.
Oh.
He's such a sweet guy. He is the grumpy. This is very much a grumpy sunshine thing going
Oh.
on. Um and he knows he's dying, and he's a very depressed type of character. He's ready. He's like, it's fine. Life's been rubbish as it is. It's time to go. It's whatever. And this little dragon, so dragons can be absolutely massive. But Amber, bless her, she's very small. She's a little bit of a runt. She doesn't get much in the way of pickings in deep London. So she's gone upper London to try and find some scraps. And, Fang's, he's dying. So she's just politely sort of sidling up to him, waiting for him to
Nom nom
die.
nom.
I know. It's just like, yeah, this is the tone. It's dark and
See,
silly.
I would imagine that my cats would be the same, honestly.
Yeah, well, this is it. They're just waiting, but she's being
Just
polite about it. She'll
yeah.
wait until he's gone, and she's like, she's being sweet to him and stuff as well. But as he's at death's door, but then it doesn't happen, and it kind of reverses. Now he's not been attacked by a zombie or a vampire or anything, so there's no real reason for this. And Amber's a bit like, oh, okay, I could sense that you were dying, but now you're not. You smell a bit weird.
Mm.
Your scent's all wrong now, kind of thing. And he's just like, oh great. So I can't even die now in these. Now I'm cursed. There's some kind of curse that's he's assuming is on him, which has stopped him from dying.
Because he can't die.
Because he can't die. Yeah, bless him. Um Then we swap to Lazaire, who is a Frenchman who's been living in London for like 10 years. He's an actor. He's very much a golden retriever, sweet guy. Um, the same thing happened to him a couple of months ago, basically. Um, and for him, when he woke up and recovered, he had massive bat wings, which nice.
Here for
Um, That's it. But he doesn't really know what to do with them, and he's gone back he's gone back to his job of like being a tutor for drama with this family, but he keeps being let go because they're like this, well, you're a deep Londoner now. And it's like an unsaid kind of prejudice thing. And he's like, but I'm not really, because I'm not actually. Everyone thinks he's a vampire, but he's not a vampire. He doesn't have vampire teeth. He doesn't want to drink blood. He
He's
just
just
has
got some wings.
wings. He's just got wings, and he's alive when he shouldn't be. And well, he doesn't know he smells funny, but he's going to find out about that. So he's been let go, and he goes outside, and there's this kid that's in the street that goes up and tries to recruit him to like a vampire support group for like transitioning, because he doesn't recognize him, and he's like, oh, you've clearly been turned into a vampire. Do you need some help? Because this kid's hundreds of years old. He looks like he's about 12. He's
Bless
Wolfric.
him.
He turns up throughout it all, and he's
Oh,
brilliant too. um but he's stopped in the middle of a feed from, I can't remember if it's actually a human corpse or something else. It may be something else, but he stopped to talk to Lazaire about it. And Lazaire's trying to explain, I'm not actually a vampire. And then they've turned around, and there's this little dragon that's been trying to muscle in on this leftovers. And it's Amber again, bless her. And then when Wolfric's gone like, hang on, that was mine. And she was like, oh, I thought you were finished because you were chatting over there. It's like, oh, we'll share it then. And so Lazaire's just kind of standing there like, oh, life's getting pretty rough because he hasn't got anywhere to live and no money now, and just bat wings, and he doesn't know where he belongs. But then Amber sees him, and she's like, oh, you smell weird like that other guy smelled weird that I met. And he's like, what other guy? Oh, this thing happened to him. And she explains that he was going to die. And he's like, oh, that happened to me. Lazaire had been attacked as well. I think he was stabbed by a group in an alleyway. It's London.
I say, yeah. London doesn't sound fun. You'd want to go
Yeah,
deep
well,
London, wouldn't you?
culturally, but
It's
yeah,
on point, yeah. Of
this is it. He's like later on they go to a pub and it's like got Shakespeare and Kit Marlowe there
course it
and
has.
stuff. Yeah.
Happens
Um,
every time you go into London.
well, when you hang out at the New Cross pubs and Deptford, um, so she offers to take Lazaire to find Fang to see if they can talk and see if they can figure out what's gone wrong. Lazaire doesn't really know why he's going. He doesn't know what to do. He's a little bit lost at the moment. So he goes along. They find, oh, they get there, I think. That's right. They go back to the alleyway and Fang's gone. And he's like, when did this happen? And she's like, oh, 2 or 3 days ago. He's like, well, clearly he's got up and gone somewhere else at this
Sat waiting
point.
for you to come back.
Yeah. And while they're in the alleyway, this another gang turns up and he's like, oh, not again. He's not really like a fighter. He knows acting fighting on stage with props.
That would be
Um,
hilarious.
but when this gang, I think it's the Halfpenny gang, go to attack them, Fang turns up and gets into the fray. And he's not much better at fighting, but he's more willing to be violent and or be protective, as we find out later. He kind of Fang's got this power now, which is like a reverse glamour. So, with Fae, that they can make themselves look
Yeah, look
beautiful
pretty.
and, project. Fang's power is to project the most disgusting imagery. So it works to freak people out. He can make them think that like the walls are swimming in like sewage or their hands have rotted and there's maggots coming out of them. But it only works so long and then obviously people figure it out. But it works long enough for them to get away from this gang. And then Amber introduces them. They start to chat about what's gone on. Thang takes them to where he was, and it's because he needs to go and feed this cat who was injured. He's still trying to look after this little cat, bless him. Um, and then they get there, and the gang catch up with them again with more people. This gang just doesn't know when to stop.
They're
It's
there.
very funny. Um, it's got massive like Terry Pratchett type vibes in terms of the humor and the different characters and the way they talk to each other, being a bit silly and um and Fang gets injured in the fight again, but they realize that they've got these Fey weapons, and Fey keep themselves completely separate, like even more than Deep London. They have their own cordoned off bits, and to know that there are gangs in London that now have Fey weapons is quite concerning. It's like, oh, this is and maybe this is the reason why they were cursed. They think maybe Lazaire was stabbed by something, but Fang wasn't stabbed, so they're not quite sure. But they want to find out a bit about what's going on there. But anyway, the only way to get away is for Lazaire to use his big wings, and he picks up Fang and he flies him off to Fang stays sometimes with a woman called Nell who's moved from Wales, and she's like an apothecary who does like all sorts of different potions and things for people. Uses a bit of magic with a bit of science, so she's kind of seen as um outside of the limits of like her Welsh town, what they were acceptable, because she uses a bit of science too and stuff. It's very much magic for Wales. Um, and he takes her back there. Sorry, he takes Fang back there. And Nell was like, oh my God, has he gone and got himself like stabbed again? She's always patching him up. They're already friends that have found each other, Nell and Fang, and it's clear that they're kind of the grumpy kind of friends, which I think you get a lot in found family as well. It's like that, like you were
Begrudging.
saying, they're not used to having that kind of warmth and connection, so it can take a while, and it's like underneath, isn't it? It's when someone's in trouble, they're there for them, but most of the time they're like, oh, you're just so annoying, and why are you doing this? kind of thing. And they decide to go off and investigate into things, and then they find some another thing that leads them to believe something strange is going on. I won't go into
Yeah.
what they find,
The
but
detail.
yeah, this group of Nell and Lazaire and Fang and Amber and other come together, and it's very sweet and funny. And the relationship between, so Fang is like, because he's so doom and gloom, and he knows when the curse ends. It's like, if they get, he wants to get the curse lifted because he doesn't want to be cursed, but they're basically going to die if the curse gets lifted.
Okay.
So Lazar's like, not quite sure. I want to find out what's going on, but
Yeah.
and but Fang's like, yeah, I just want to lift the curse and it will be natural and me to be gone, kind of thing. Um, so there's a clear attraction between the two, but in a very different kind of way. Like, Fang's like, oh yeah, I know, we just get it over with, kind of thing. And Lazar's like, no, I'm not gonna like sleep with you if you're only doing it because like you because
You
you're sad.
are you sad? Are you bored? Yeah.
I had quotes because this is the kind of book that I really should have like highlighted and done quotes for. Like people who have like the little tags.
Oh God, yes.
I don't
Oh,
do
are you
that
feeling it?
because I very rarely read hardbacks and paperbacks, but I felt it with this one. I had to like take snapshots instead. But what does he say? How did he put it? Oh, I didn't keep that one. No, no.
Oh,
Oh, no. I keep saying I won't sleep with you if you're sad about it. Sleeping with me is a treat, and you should be duly delighted. You deserve a treat.
yeah.
That's just so funny. One other quote, which is very relevant to what we were talking about before, is we were talking about forms, weren't we? And now he's become like a deep Londoner. It was like he'd have to get loads of forms from the French consulate. Maybe Fang had a point about them being better off dead.
Yeah. Oh,
It's like,
so
but yeah,
many forms,
it's
bless him.
it's very sweet and very imaginative, and it's a series, so it isn't quite
Oh.
concluded. They get kind of to the end of part of it, but there's more gonna happen. So I didn't realize it was going to be a series when I picked
Nice.
it up, but when I got to the end, I was like, oh, clearly this is going to be. And the relationship has started, and you're getting that slow burn kind of thing, but it's not quite there all the way yet, but it will be, I bet you.
Excellent. Oh, sounds really good.
It is. It's a
You
lot
had
of
me at
fun.
horrible histories. You could have just left it there.
Well, this is it. That's the selling point, isn't it? It's just so funny. Like I could
Serious.
see it being like a film or a
Yeah.
series or
Yeah.
something
Look
with
at yeah.
those kind of actors in it.
Yeah. Dear BBC.
Yeah, please, might be. Well,
Oh, you
she's
never
in there
know.
already with,
Seriously. Oh, I've
oh,
just got stupid deaths going around in my head now, so that's
yeah.
not helpful to anybody. You should watch horrible histories,
Okay.
people. Okay, so let me try. Okay, so my next one is Blood and Steel by I think it's Helen Scheuerer. Scheuerer, I think.
Hmm.
Okay, so again, I'm going to
Oh,
try
I
and
was going to
condense
read that
down.
one. I've had that on
Yes,
my TBR for ages, but I haven't read
yes.
it yet.
So I've delved into it, and because I think there's like four in the series, and I've got book two, but
Oh,
I've not been
right.
able to read it because of podcast.
Hmm.
But I'm very tempted. So yeah, there is a veil in this. We have a veil, where there are creepy, scary monsters behind it, and there are things in place in the world. I say the real world, but the world that are there to fight it. There are these epic warriors called the War Swords who go through loads of vigorous training to be the best of the best, and they all have really cool names when they get there, like the blood letter and the things like
Hmm.
that.
Nice.
Okay, but we start with Thea. Her name's Althea, and I'll go into the details of her as to rather than start the book. So Althea and her sister Wren were abandoned in a place called Thiesmar, and they were left at the gates. And Thiesmar is a place that it starts training of these warriors. So they start as shield bearers, and then they go from there. And if they get better, they can work up to be war swords. So I think they're around. I think she's around 6-ish when she's there.
Mm.
So they get taken in and they have to work in the castle and do whatever they're doing. And while they're there as children, something happens. There's a little girl whose name, I don't know if I wrote it down, crap, who is, she's found with a scythe and a prophecy. So she comes
Okay.
out, and the prophecy is that there is a woman who's going to come out with a weapon in her hand, and she's going to be the end of all things.
Oh, wow.
So rather than actually do anything useful with this, they banish this poor little tiny little girl out into the world, and they decide that rather than put some thought into it, they stop any females from ever learning to train again. And any female
Yeah.
warriors that do train, they remove their swords, they take their armor, and they can stay and work in the castle, or they can be removed. That's their choices. So
Mhm.
a lot of the women leave. So there are quite a lot of children who do end up getting left within the castle because their
Yeah.
parents just have to go.
Right.
But Althea, when she was dropped off on the doorstep, she had a jade necklace around her neck, which had the number 27 etched into it. And what you learn is that these are also little prophecies that are given by seers to people at random
Oh,
points.
okay.
So
Hmm.
she's given it as a child, and the only thing she remembers is the seer saying, remember me, this is the day you will die. This is the, not the day, this is the age you will die. And
Oh,
that's all she knows. So we jump
rough.
to the beginning of the book is where she's 24, and she's kind of known forever that she has this thing hanging over her head. And all she's ever wanted to do is to be a shield bearer. She wants to go, she wants to
Yeah.
fight, she wants to make something of her life because she doesn't have much of it. But
Hmm.
because of all of this that has gone on, and she was there at the time this little girl walked into the village with this scythe, because she's not allowed to, her and her sister have had to work in the apothecary. They're being trained up to do that because it will help the war effort if they can make these weapons and these poisons and all of the other bits. So yeah, we find Thea. She's very good. She's an awful chemist. She pays no attention. She just basically wants to leave the castle to go outside and watch the young lads fighting. So that's what she spends all of her time doing. Now, over the years, they had a lot of war swords, but they have slowly but surely been removed. So the creatures behind the veil are made of shadows and stuff, and they are worthy foes. And as time has gone on, they have progressed to just not being like wraiths. They have gone into bigger creatures, and a
Right.
lot of war swords have
Yeah.
left. A lot have been killed, and at this point, there are only three that are there. Now, basically, the logic behind that is because there's just lots of orphaned little boys at this place who are pushed to be shield bearers because there's nothing else for them to do. And
Right.
the girls who could do it aren't allowed to do it. So you've not
Patriarchy. It's great.
so you've not got the numbers to do
Hmm.
anything. So not Ren, Thea goes out and she's heard a bit of a snippet about something that the war swords are going to meet. So she goes and hides in a bush and she sees the three that are there. And one of them is carrying a bag of heads, which I always love a bag of heads.
A bag of heads. Yeah.
Yeah. So so she sneaks in and he sees her, this main one, who is, oh God, where's his name gone? I should think that. Wilder. She doesn't call him Wilder. Wilder Hawthorne. She calls him all sorts of names. And he is the Hand of Death. He is the
Oh,
youngest war sword and the strongest, the most powerful that there's ever been, and
yeah.
only one of the three left. And there's lots of things about him that people say, what is he doing with these heads? Why is he finding them all sorts of stuff. He's been off hunting this veil for a long time. But she hears kind of a snippet of a chat between them and knows it's getting worse. So she kind of basically wants to go and fight. And she goes out, sneaks out with a little pretend sword, and Wilder finds her. When he finds her, he finds that she has a dagger attached to her, which is made of a special kind of steel that is only ever given to a war sword. So he is right angry that she's got this weapon and she's
Oh.
out playing
Hmm.
pretend when, there's not enough of them left. So he takes her to the council and says, "Oh, what are you going to do? You banished the other warriors.
Yeah.
So she kind of steps up and the librarian kind of sneaks in. It's a bit Buffy-esque. The librarian comes in,
Nice.
who was one of the head women who used
Mm.
to fight
Yeah.
all of those years ago. And she's like, well, maybe she could petition the king. And then they're all like, okay, what? So she's like, yeah, I'll do that. So she goes off, petitions the king, and lots of things happen over there, but she ends up saving his life. She's quite nifty with throwing stars because she's been
Yeah.
training for a long time, but she's got like the power of these throwing stars, which kind of I won't explain now, but there are things about who she is later on that are kind of
Yeah.
nifty with that.
Of
Yeah.
course.
So she petitions the king. She goes and travels with Wilder. Wilder is the one because he found her. He wants to take her there and bring her back and figure out how she got this sword because the sword at the dagger belonged to his brother.
Ah.
And we find out once he gets back, his brother, something happened to him, and he lives as he's like a recluse. He can't speak. They don't know why he can't speak. Nobody knows what happened, but he lives in his own little house with a dog in just the room, and he goes from his rooms to the library, and that's it. But Thea kind of found him one day, and she found his dagger on the field, and took it back to him, even though she really wanted to keep it. And he
Yeah.
whispered something to her, and then he gave it back to her. So she's kind of had this prized possession for years.
Mm.
And we then find out that this chap is Wilder's brother, who was also a war sword,
Mm.
and the Wraiths attacked him somehow. And yeah, he's just not spoken since. So Wilder's
Oh
trying to
wow.
get to the end of
Mm.
that while trying to take her there. He basically wants her not to succeed, but she does. And he sees the brother's dog comes and finds them. And he realizes there actually is some weird link between his brother and this girl. And then his brain clicks over.
I see.
So yeah, she is allowed to then go and compete and become a shield bearer. And basically, this is where the found family comes in. She goes in, and there are just loads of these boys. And you can imagine the only girl in this mass of lads, it is
Yeah.
not welcome. She gets paired off with this poor little weakling by the name of Pip. And is like, well, Pip can't fight. Pip's been here for years anyway. Pip's never going to
Oh.
get anywhere. So go
Hmm.
and see what you can do over there.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Pip sort of is the one that kind of first befriends her, and she doesn't really want it so much. She's kind of yeah, she knows she's got 3 years basically. That's it. She doesn't know exactly when she's going to die at 27. It could be as soon as she turns. It could be the last
Yeah.
day.
Oof.
So this is it. So she just wants to go and try her hardest and do what she does. But there is one lad called Sebastos who is just a monster who just wants to see her ground into the floor. So slowly
Mm.
but surely, she works her way through the ranks with these boys, and yeah, the family grows very slowly because yeah, there's just that weird divide with the lads and the girls, and she's infiltrating on something that could kill them all. Because this
Yeah.
one girl with the weapon in her hand that she's had in her hand for 6 years has been tempting fate every single
Hmm.
day because nobody else is there to do it. The only one person left is the librarian. Nobody else is allowed any weapons. So they dislike her for that. All of the sort of the higher people are not sure what they should be doing, but because the king's said so,
Mm.
that's fine. So she basically has to fight her way up. So Pip is the first one that steps in, and then there's another lad who's got loads of sisters who he was pulled away from to come and fight because they
Right.
need shield bearers. So
Hmm.
Cam kind of steps in when all the boys start beating on her. She's dumped into the boys' lodgings because it's like, well, if you're going to be a shield bearer, you're going to stay with us. So as
Yeah.
soon as she's there, all the boys are kind of just not pleasant to her, and she kind of has
Yeah.
to lie there for hours until everybody's asleep to go and use a toilet
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff. So she's kind of fighting with all of that, and then slowly but surely, these lads kind of sort of ease up to her as she kind of starts to prove her worth. She kind of starts to actually show everybody that, maybe prophecies can be not what they seem.
Yeah. We
But
all
yeah,
know
so
that. It's always a bit twisty, isn't it?
yes,
Bit sneaky, those prophecies. Always so vague. Never
yes.
like you say, 27, but is it 27 and 3 days? Is it 23 days
Well,
and 20
oh yeah,
minutes? What's
this is
going
it.
on?
So this is it. So yeah, the relationship with her and Wilder kind of grows and grows because he's this war sword, and they're pulled in to help train these younglings because it's like, okay, well, what's going on with the Vale is obviously getting 10 times worse, and
Mm,
nobody's really progressing to the stage they need to. And
yeah.
there's like a massive thing called the Right, which they all have to get through and gain like a patch to become the shield bearer to then move to the next stage. So yeah, there's
Hmm.
lots of books to do it.
Wow.
But yeah, he kind of steps in and helps out a little bit. And then they kind of start stepping in and they take teams of these people to try and start training them up a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah, their relationship is it is very enemies to lovers to start.
Yeah. That's never a problem, is it?
No, 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 no.
We don't mind that.
No,
Is it
but yeah,
like a
it's
slow
yeah.
burnish one?
Yeah, it does take quite a while. And then when it starts to kick in, it's like, no, it cannot be this way. Because she's kind of like,
Uh,
well, yes, this is
yeah.
this. And she doesn't tell him for quite a while what the stone means. He sees it.
Oh, right.
And he's like, what the hell does that mean? She goes, oh, it's not mine.
Okay.
Don't look at me.
Just carrying it for someone else. It's not mine.
Yeah. Oh, it was a friend's. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
it's like when your mum found your cigarettes.
They're not
Oh, they're
mine.
not mine.
Yeah, I'm looking after him for someone.
Yes. So, her sister as well. Her sister is a fantastic character, Ren. So Ren's a little bit younger, and she's she's very she's great with the potions and the spells, and she's trying to create a teapot that poisons people.
Oh,
So she's kind of really nice
pleasant.
and sweet.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, what are you working on? She goes, oh, I've got this teapot that if you cover this hole, it will serve tea. If you cover this hole, it will serve poison. So she spends a
Nice.
big chunk of the book trying to
Yeah,
create this thing, and it's just like this little running thing in the background, and it's just
I
fantastic.
love that.
But yeah, so yeah, though she has a family, I suppose none of them do. So there's a lot of girls around the apothecary who kind of get
Yeah.
together a little bit. But Thea's
Okay.
not, she's in with that and they kind of share like a dorm together. So there are little links and
Don't
stuff
say
to
she's
it.
not like the other girls. Don't say it. Don't say
No, they get on, there's
it.
no problems,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
she wants to be a fighter. She's better with
Yeah.
a blade than with
Hmm.
a spoon.
Yeah. No, that's it. I can see. I'm glad that you mentioned that there were other girls and things because I think
Yes. Yeah,
sometimes that
just the
can
boys.
be like when you've got like the one woman who's being like the warrior and she's
Yes.
not supposed to be surrounded by men. It can be very lean on female characters when you
No.
have a story of that type, but it sounds
Yes.
like there's
Yes,
plenty
so
and they're
they
well
are working
rounded.
in the background and they are coming up with some of these weapons. And when she gets to the right at the end, her sister, before it starts, she gives her a bag of tricks. And it's like, okay, yeah,
Hmm.
we'll use this one for this. And if you need to
Yeah.
heal this, use this one. But
Nice.
this one will do other
Hmm.
things. So she's kind of, yeah, the little voice
Yeah.
in the back. And
And I think like found families, it doesn't like discount if some of them are related to each other because you get that quite often as well. You can have like, you might have cousins that were more the ones that were close than another sibling, and then they go off and find other friends, don't they, and other people. So
yeah,
yeah, it's
what,
not like,
yeah, I found mine did lean very heavily to not much family.
yeah.
With
That,
all of them. With my third one, I'll
yeah.
kind of mention a smidgy bit, but yeah, you get an entire unit with just the one person
Hmm.
having to come in, and that's a very different dynamic, having to be that one individual and mold yourself into like a unit that's already there. How does
Yeah. I think that is kind of a way that found family happens often in like fantasy and sci-fi is because of having that military bent as well. I think like armies and things like that, that's what happens, isn't it? You have people outside of their family put together to be a team and they have to learn how to work
well,
together
yeah,
and
or
and
die?
then that
Yes,
means getting to know each other intimately like you said, like you have to bed down together, you have to use the latrines together, you have to learn how to fight so that watch other people's backs, and that creates that kind of connection which kind of happens in my second one.
hmm
So I have made, look at that.
nice linking,
Ooh, that's a
slide in.
smooth. Yeah. um so it's Hunt the Stars by Jesse, I think it's Mihalik, but I've lost the K when I was writing my
Okay.
notes. I'm pretty sure there's a K at the end. Um, and this is a sci-fi romance one. Um, and it's a funny one because I read it a long time ago and I enjoyed it, but it was kind of like, oh yeah, I enjoyed it and then left it. But I've gone back to it quite a few times. It's one of
Oh,
those like like a slow grower kind of thing.
yes.
It just hits like the right points. Don't
Hmm.
pull that face.
I didn't put any face at all. I was
I
just having a
saw
drink.
you. I know, slow grower.
Um,
Um, so it's actually after there's been like a galactic war. Um, and there's the humans and there are the Valofs who are like this other race that have extrasensory powers, like telekinesis and stuff like that.
nice.
Um, so the war's ended, but Tavi is the captain of a ship and she's like for hire. She has a team and they're her team that she was with during the war. She was a general. Some stuff happened um that is like backstory that comes out as it's going, but she's got like quite a reputation as someone who was quite formidable to the other force. Um and they do it's not so much bounty stuff. Sometimes they're finding things, sometimes they're doing just like supply runs, but it's basically a ship for hire to keep themselves going. There's also a cute little alien fluffy pet.
Hey,
Love those with
Niffler.
sharp teeth, that kind of
Ooh,
thing. Yeah. Um, but it's very cute. And they are being hired by Torrin, who is a a a Valoth general, and he was again like he's really powerful, and he was like equivalent on well probably more so on the other side because he's also kind of like a noble, and he wants to hire them to take them somewhere and get Tavi and her crew to help him hunt down a family heirloom which has been stolen.
mhm.
She's like pretty cagey about this. They don't really mix, even though it's like the treaties happened, supposedly, but there's still very much like divisions in airspace and, where you can go and where you can't go and how they get along. So her crew is like, we sure about this? And Torrens coming on with his crew who are also like his found family. So this is kind of like two found families on
Merge.
opposing sides, learning to live together on this spaceship, get where they're going, and solve this mystery, which there's a lot of twists and turns, and Torren's very cagey about some of the stuff that's going on, which is very frustrating for Tavi. Um, but in addition, and obviously there's attraction between the two of
Of
them,
course,
Tavi and
obviously.
Torren. But there's what surprised me when I was reading it was you have this like quite typical kind of enemies to lovers set up and everything, but it's got a coziness to it as well, and that's why I thought about this one with found family because she wants to look after everyone. She's like the mother in the found family, she's always wanting to cook for people and do some cookies, and it's like you're not expecting that when you're
No,
thinking of like
it's just yeah,
space and
yeah.
intergalactic wars and things like that.
Bounties
So
maybe.
I think it surprised some readers to have it with that bent. It does have action and it leads into action. And like I said, there's like twists and turns with the plot. And it's one in a series, but they're each standalone romances. So this is them as a couple. Um, so yeah, it's one of those ones that be prepared that it's like kind of it's got that soft kind of cozy side to it as well. And then seeing the two groups that have like they have to learn to live together and they start sparring and and initially it's always done kind of in an aggressive like peeing up the wall way, but then it gets like, oh, you're quite good and you're quite good,
Yeah.
oh well, you can learn stuff from you and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's fun. I enjoy that one.
Excellent. I like it, like
Nice.
it. All right, I'll give my quick mention so we're not
Yeah.
keeping people here for season one levels.
No,
It
we
is
can never go to that level.
we really could, but we won't.
Mm.
Go watch season one again. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, Forged by Magic by Jenna Wolfhart is my last one,
Oh yeah.
and I'll give it a quick mention. It's sold as cozy. It's a cozy book. It doesn't sound very cozy if you kind of look into the start. So we have, oh God, we have Deella, who is a half orc who is kept captive in a castle by the Emperor, who is an ice king. Um, the Ice King has a bit of a complex. He's just been out killing everybody. He doesn't want any other creature to be more powerful than him. So any
Okay.
dragons gone, any
Hmm.
orcs gone. Only reason that Deella was kept alive is because they knew each other as children. She was in the castle as children. He was there with his sister, so they were friendly. That's kind of one of them. The other reason is that orcs can scent dragons. So she's quite useful. So over the
Hmm.
years, she's been used as a mercenary because there are people, orcs, humans, lots of other people who have managed to bond themselves to a dragon who are called drowers when this happens. And if they can take on the dragon's fire and the dragon's magic, they become quite unstoppable. So Isvig wants to get all these gone. So he's been sending out his half orc mercenary um, as often as he can to go and wipe out all of these bigger, more powerful enemies.
Mm.
But the problem is she could escape. However, he's got an ice shard that he has wedged inside her body. That his typical way of doing of his own dirty work, which is very minimal, is freezing people to death. So
Right.
he has implemented this thing into her hip. So if she doesn't do certain things for him, he will just kill her. Long and short of
Oh.
it.
Hmm.
So he's heard word that there's some dragons out and about in the Isle of Fable. So he dumps her and his sister, who again he doesn't kill, but he's not too keen on having her around, onto this boat to go and see if they can find these dragons and these drowers. Unfortunately, massive storm kicks up, shipwrecked. So doesn't kill her. She ends up on an island and is found by an elf called Rivlin, who doesn't like her. Both of them, Della and Rivlin, are both. It's very interconnected. They both lost a lot of family through links to things that the other ones have
Yeah.
in their histories.
Hmm.
So he knows who she is. There is only one half orc left that people know of, and she is
Mm.
the mercenary for the king, the
Yeah.
emperor.
Obviously, she's been
So
up to stuff which is
yeah,
not, yeah,
yeah.
doesn't put
So
her in favor.
yeah, everybody knows who she is. So he
Mm.
finds her on the beach. The thing with orcs is they are they can't have water on them. Salt water is fine, no fresh water. So if it rains, she's buggered. Body all in
Yeah.
welts. She kind of reminds me of a gremlin. If you get her wet, she's in trouble.
Yeah.
That's just going round in my head. So he finds her on the beach. He finds that she's got this massive knife, takes it and just lobs it into the sea. She's miffed because she
Mm.
belonged to her mother. But he's like, well, I don't really care. No knives on this island. This place is a sanctuary. People come here. Nobody can really find this place.
Right.
The only reason that she seems to have stumbled on is because of this shipwreck. She tries to get room, board, and stuff, and it doesn't happen because people know who she is. Rivlin speaks to the elders. He's on the council. It is quite grumpy sunshine-ish, or grumpy and slightly less grumpy.
Yeah.
She tries to
I
hide
like
some of the
that.
grumpiness
Yeah.
by like,
It's not, we're not buying it, love.
no,
Yeah.
at all. But yeah, he is the proper grump. And they're like, okay, well, we need to kind of keep an eye on her, watch what's going on. And the coziness kicks in when there's a midsummer like competition that goes on every year. So loads of people come to watch this thing, and you put your name into this hat and you can get picked to take part. And if you win these four challenges, or if you're voted the winner, you get to ask the island for something.
Okay.
So yeah, the
Mm.
island is kind of magical. It's kind of not full out said, but it is hinted. So Rivlin
Yeah.
takes her into his house, and he's like, okay, well, the storm that's there, it lasts every year for about six-ish weeks. So you
Wow.
can't leave till then anyway. So keep you here, and you can be my assistant within the games.
Hmm.
So that's what they do. They spend their time going
Oh.
through these
Hmm.
challenges, and they're all linked to seasons and elements and things. So the first one is water. So she's obviously not great for that
Yeah.
because yeah, as soon as she gets near water, she's in trouble. They build a boat. Somebody falls in, she saves them, and slowly but surely she starts to kind of enamor herself to the village and to Rivlin a little bit, and people
Yeah.
kind of start to see that she's not who they thought she was,
Mm-hmm.
and she starts to learn about Rivlin. And when she first gets into his house, it just reeks of dragon, and she's like,
Right.
but he's not a dragon and he's not Drow, so she can't figure it out.
Mm.
But she's as the walls start to come down, something will happen and he'll come back smelling again. And she's kind of like, okay, they're not here and you're not
Yeah.
it. And what is going on? So there's just so many twisty turnies.
Mm.
And there's lots
That's
of other
cool.
people who are in the games and who are not great people, but some are better people. And you kind of got to try and sit and figure out
Yeah.
the
So it's
mysteries
like
behind
this
it.
community, like
Yes.
learning this community, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's cool. That one's been on my TBR for a while as well.
There you go.
I've had it on my list. There's a
Yeah.
couple there.
It's really good. Yeah, it's kind of weird. He said, "This is cozy," and I'm like, "Yeah, she's a mercenary for the Emperor." Okay,
See, that's where I go
yeah,
with my cozy ones. It's like this bit's cozy, but also
yeah.
fair
There's
amount of
there's
blood and
there's
death
a
and
darker
stuff.
side to this.
Yeah, it somehow it works.
It
Somehow this
really does.
balance does work. And that's similar to my next one as
There you
well.
go.
Look
It's
at that,
perfect fit.
another. It's just flowing. We
Yeah.
said it would be rough around the edges first
Oh, it's
episode,
not.
but
It's
not
smooth.
so far. There's still
No,
time.
now we've jinxed it.
Now, so my last one is Keeper of Enchanted Rooms, which is
Mm.
Charlie N. Holmberg. And this one is like a gas lamp, fantasy of manners type one. So it's set in 19th century Boston,
Ooh,
and it's an alternative history in that there is magic. There's been families that have had magic, and there's all this, like, you get it at the front of the book, and they have it in all the books. And at first, I'm not really one for reading a lot of the glossaries and stuff, I have to say, or
I
looking at the
prefer them at
maps.
the end.
I get to a point, and then I'm like, oh, I'll go back and have a look
Yeah.
now. Even though I reference more than I
Mm.
don't read it
Yeah.
through and
Cross
then
check.
go in. But it's really cool magic system in that there's all these different types of magician, and there is what they can do, and elements like rocks and like natural things that are aligned to it that might amplify it or that they can use, or um
Like
and then
Pokemon.
there's also very specific things that happen when they use their magic. So I can't remember exactly, but um the main character, or one of the main characters, is Holder, and she has the ability to it's a tiny bit of seer ability, and magic has been diluted out of a lot of the bloodlines. There's not a lot of very powerful magicians anymore. In England, it's kind of prevalent in the aristocracy because they like to keep it friendly with
Yeah.
between themselves, don't they? Um
Aye.
But so, for example, with Holder, she has this ability to have small premonitions. She can't really force it. She can kind of encourage it a little bit, but it's not easy for her to do. And then straight afterwards, I think she becomes like quite confused. So it's like a reversal thing, which doesn't help. Like she'll get forgetful. So you have the premonition, but then you might forget the details of it and stuff.
Bless her.
But like all of this, and there's like lots of different things. There's like being a master of chaos, or like healing, and all different. This great big range. Um, so she works for a place called Biker, which is the Boston Institute for the Keeping of Enchanted Rooms. So
Ooh.
magical buildings, which are again getting rarer. And Biker is a place where they will go out to people who own them, or if they found them, and help them manage them, either take ownership or just help the people that want to keep them there, because it can be very tricky to live in a magical house
I
for
can
whatever
imagine.
reason. They want to
Yeah.
protect the magic, but it's hard. But she's really, really good at her job. And she goes out to what's his name? Merrick. who is estranged from his family from something that happened when he was quite young. He's been living by himself for a long time. He's got one really close friend who his family kind of took him under their wing, but he was like on the cusp of adulthood anyway, and at this time it was like he had to go off and earn his way. He's a writer and he's doing okay at it. Good for him. So,
Blimey.
yeah, he's got to write a book. He's got like a deal for his next book and he has to write it. But he does like journalism. He writes pieces for newspapers and things to earn his bread and butter too. Um But he has weirdly inherited this house via, I think it's his grandmother, um, who he's not seen. And he goes out, and it's this little island off of the coast of Boston. And there's this house there, and this house is a character in its own right in terms of how the magic reacts when he goes into it. And when Holder arrives, I think he's been there at least 24 hours already, and he's like trapped. The rooms change sizes, the stairs will turn into a slide, there will be like spikes so like, and to be honest as well, it's like it's cozy and it's really imaginative, but there was also like a genuine feeling of fret with this magic.
Mm.
You really didn't know what was going to happen. It was like it was like a haunted house, but not. It's magical. It's very cool. But Holder gets there and she's able to use like different charms and things to help settle different areas. And she's going in and she's trying to work out what magic is in that house so that she can kind of counterbalance it and help him to live there. Because I mean, he's not doing that well with his writing that he's going to walk away from having a house.
Just a bit, yeah.
If they can sort it out, then I think he's intending either to sell it or to. But Biker obviously want to keep it magical. And she helps him to hire some magical staff, and you get a maid and you get a cook who is like, the cook in Ratatouille, the one with the cleaver, who's got
Oh
like the
yeah,
dark past.
yeah.
That's like the
Yeah.
cook in this. Um, yeah, so there's a mystery to do with what's going on with the magic. They can't quite work it out, what's happening. And then like this budding romance between Merrick and Holder. And it is trigger warning. It's not a spicy book. It's of its time in terms of fantasy of manners.
Mm.
Um, it continues into a series. I've not quite finished the series. I've done two, and there's another one. There's other stuff going on underneath as well. And the prologue is actually another character that you it gets intertwined later, and it's a really dark beginning. They're a young magician, and their father is like abusive, and there's like it's dark what happens at the beginning, and he like kills him in self-defense, but magically as well, which is significant. And when I first read it, it goes to show how your brain changes, because I thought he was going to be the hero, even though he just murdered his dad. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
you know what I
Well,
mean?
self-defense.
But later on, no,
Oh
not so.
no,
It crosses a line. It crosses a line
that's the dark
way
slippery
down.
slope. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a slippery slope, and
Oh,
he is not the hero. So don't think you're going to get that kind of a
oh,
romance
it's not
from it.
that dark romance. Oh,
It's not that
okay.
kind of dark
Not the mask
romance.
type. That's fine.
No, no, it's more the yeah. There's a magical house.
There we go.
Yeah.
It works. It sounds
Yeah.
good. Cool,
It
cool.
was very sweet and fun, and I enjoyed that a lot.
Super duper. Had a nice mixed bunch then today.
We really have. And they've all kind of like, yeah, joined to
Mm.
each other. Woo.
It,
Yeah,
it always seems to work that way. We can find a link.
it does.
We're Kevin
Yeah.
Bacon in with even no Kevin Bacon
That's
needed.
it. Even within, it's like meta within the
Mm.
episodes. We are doing it, and we're doing it subconsciously as well.
Always.
Don't because we don't tell each other
No, we don't.
very vaguely. So we could turn up and 50% of our books be the
Be the
same
same.
books.
Ah, we haven't yet. I am waiting for the one day that we both go,
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? The
"Hmm,
amount of books we've talked about. Because I could have read two of those. Two of those were
Mm,
on my TV, and I looked at them and I didn't think to read them for this. But I think that's because I'd already read a couple. So yeah, we'll see. See if it happens.
I've got 5 left to do it.
Yeah. Could definitely happen.
Mm. So what is next week then? Where maybe could we cross paths?
Are we gonna announce the trope for next week then?
I think we should do.
Yeah, we can do. It is Marriage of Convenience,
Mm.
which is one of my favoritist ever.
Oh, is it? So
Yeah.
why didn't we use this in the first tropiness
I don't know. I think I suggested it and you said no.
then?
You were like,
We're
no, I
having
want I
morally
want
grey. We're
fated mates.
having
Stop
mated
it.
mates and we're having enemies to lovers, and that's it.
Well, we only had 5, didn't we, in the first season? First time we did a trope season because we had Gateway Books as our
Yes,
first
we did.
episode.
Oh, I remember.
So yeah, but we've got round to it. I got there
Mm,
eventually. I kept going
just
until
podding.
you accepted it. But what I've found is a tricky thing for me now we finally got to Marriage of Conveniences because I love it and I read so much. I've
Can't narrow
talked
it down.
about so many in
Yep.
the
Mhm.
past, and I had to find new
Yep.
ones.
This is it. And I've got so
Yeah.
many that cover so many little different parts. It's like, well, it could be that one. It could be that one. Oh, what do I
Yeah.
need to for that one?
hmm Yeah. I'm gonna find it fun anyway.
Yeah,
Hopefully you did too.
definitely. I'm very much looking forward to it.
There we
But
go.
yeah, hopefully you are too. So you'll join us next time this is on, which
Yeah.
is at all the places,
Yes. Which are what are
YouTube,
they?
Spotify,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, all of the podcast distribution type places because it's via Spotify now. We used to be via Anchor, but Spotify took over Anchor, and now Spotify they distribute it to
all the
other
things.
podcast places. And yeah, and we're
Yeah,
on YouTube as
SSF
well.
Romcast. Find us.
That's it. And we're on social media too.
Go. Yep, yep.
Yeah,
Until
lovely.
next
Right.
week then.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.